Kaloka Beach once thrived on the waters of Lake Victoria. For generations, the lake shaped the identity, traditions, and daily lives of the people who lived along its shores. But today, the rhythm of the waters is changing. Every morning, fishermen still push their boats into the lake hoping for a catch, just as their fathers and grandfathers once did.
Gi lowo nam to kelo gik mang'eny, chemicals we have talked of ma otimore. Koro in order to avert this thing, aneno ni the best way en ni one, nyaka warang kaka wanyalo pidho riparian plants.
Yet many now return with empty nets after hours spent battling rough waters and uncertain conditions. As the lake becomes harder to depend on, some former fishermen are slowly moving into other ways of survival. Others have turned to irrigation farming, drawing water from the same lake that once sustained them through fishing.
Marco Luase or affect nam seriously. Kuru nungo beo timore nadi. Nungo ne beo dok chien. Mano miyo kata species mamoko beo timore nadi. Bendo lal. Kuru mano miyo ji te kuru ng'ato manyo kama onya yude survival.
At a ram market, former fishermen now trade livestock instead of fish. For many families, survival now depends on finding new sources of income beyond the lake. Fishing alone can no longer sustain many households around Kaloka Beach as catches continue to decline.
Mar aboro, ni wene rech thuolo mondo rech onyuolre, mondo rech obedie nam. Koro ne miyo joluo mang'eny nong'e ni rech nitiere. Sani rech onge. Koro waneno ni watiye tije mamoko mopogore gi luo.
Some residents are now adapting by turning to farming to feed and support their families. Using irrigation, farmers continue to rely on the lake, but in ways that reflect a changing environment and changing times. Solar pumps and storage tanks now stand where fishing tools once defined daily life. The lake continues to shape livelihoods, even as its waters become more difficult to predict.
Watu wa county government walituletea hii nini hapa, sola hii na hiyo tanka hapo juu. Sasa vile hii maji ilikuwa inapelekwa kule kwa mwaloni huko Kaloka Beach. Sasa nilikuwa nimeona vile inapita hapa kwangu karibu. Afadhali angawa ni divert pia, vile samaki nimeona imepungua, ni divert hii kitu alafu ni change kazi ingine. Sasa niingie kwa farming.
Across the shoreline, abandoned boats now stand as quiet reminders of a fading way of life. Many fishermen no longer trust the waters they once depended on without question. Even fishmongers are being forced to seek survival away from the shore. Small hotel businesses are now becoming a new source of income for many families.
Aloko rech to nawe maduge kel. Rech ne biro matin, koro beche ni malo, to pesa ne onge malong'o e lweta.
Strong tides, rising waters, and changing weather patterns continue to disrupt fishing activities on the lake. What was once predictable has slowly become uncertain for the communities that depended on the lake. Others have turned to boda riding in search of more stable income.
Kende ng'eny ma ok nyal sustain. Samoro kago kwanda moro ni adwa ni kiny ayud gimoro madhigo yamo ywak chonge adok da ot nono. Koro nochuna na weyo.
Boats are increasingly being abandoned as fishermen pursue different livelihoods away from the lake. Low fish stock has discouraged many from spending long hours on the water. For some fishermen, the fear of returning home empty-handed is becoming part of daily life. Yet despite the hardships, some fishermen still return to the waters each day, holding on to a tradition deeply rooted within the community. But many boats now remain docked even during hours once considered ideal for fishing. Fear of poor catches and dangerous waters continues to discourage many fishermen. Only a few still brave the heavy tides and unpredictable lake conditions. The culture of fishing that once defined this community is gradually fading before the eyes of a younger generation. Water hyacinth continues to spread across sections of the lake, affecting aquatic life and movement across the waters. Rough afternoon tides now make fishing increasingly dangerous and unpredictable. Rising water levels have submerged docking points and fish selling spaces once filled with activity and trade. Flooding and shifting weather conditions continue to shape the shoreline of Kaloka Beach. Many fishermen now spend few hours on the lake as catches become harder to secure.
Lake Victoria, John,
nober. Rech nitiere. Rech ni nwang' maber, to sani olokore. Gik moloko en achiel, kiluwa. Gik ma iluoko rech.
Former fishermen are now rebuilding their lives away from the waters that once sustained them. Many families continue searching for new ways to survive as all livelihoods become harder to maintain. Frustration continues to grow among fishermen struggling with declining fish stocks and changing lake conditions.
One of the things that he did was to launch a fish processing zone, how do you call it, a catchment area.
Some fishermen have begun abandoning not only their boats but also traditions passed down through generations. Traditional fishing practices and net weaving are slowly disappearing from the community. Wrecked boats now stand as silent reminders of a relationship between people and water that is steadily changing. Younger generations increasingly seek opportunities beyond fishing as they adapt to a new economic realities.
There has been a decline in fish stock because our fishermen have been using illegalities that results to decline in fishing.
Environmental pressure, pollution, and changing weather conditions continue to affect fish populations in Lake Victoria. Some fishermen are now turning to cage farming in an effort to sustain fish production and cope with the declining catches. Yet even after long hours on the lake, many still return with little or no catch. The decline of fishing continues to reshape the social and economic life of communities along the lake. Across the region, many former fishermen now survive through trade, farming, and other small businesses. For many residents, the lake is no longer as dependable as it once was. Strong tides and shifting weather patterns continue to challenge those who still rely on fishing for survival. Yet despite the hardships, some fishermen continue returning to the waters, unwilling to let go of a tradition that has defined their community for generations. And while the waters of Lake Victoria still carry memories of what once was, the future of fishing in Kaloka Beach remains uncertain.